Texas has spent billions of dollars the past 4 years on efforts to secure the southern border, largely, they say, to curb drug and human trafficking and the flow of undocumented immigrants. After President Trump resumed office this year, state lawmakers continued focus on immigration, filing bills this session to require local police partner with ICE, ensure employers use E-Verify to confirm worker status, give people a tax break if border walls are built on their property, and, as our Capitol Bureau team reports, reform the state's bail system with a constitutional amendment denying bail for undocumented people charged with a felony. It's called Joselyn's Law.
Joselyn Nungar was a 12-year-old Houston girl who was brutally murdered last year.
Her story made national headlines after it was found her accused killers were in the country illegally. That story made its way here to lawmakers at the Texas Capitol this session, thanks in part to her mom.
This is her room.
Step inside this storage unit. This is where Alexis Nungar keeps all of her daughter's belongings.
She left it like that.
It's laid out exactly how Joselyn left it, down to the crooked movie posters and the record on her record player, her baby pictures,
Chubby baby,
and her favorite pair of red Converses.
It just makes me feel like she's still alive.
Alexis says she comes in here weekly to be surrounded by memories of her daughter.
She had a lot going for herself.
A preteen who had dreams of becoming famous.
She said it, whether she was famous or not. She's like, everyone's gonna know my name. I promise you, everyone's gonna know my name. It came true. It happened.
Houston police say Joselyn was raped and murdered under this bridge, walking distance from where she lived in the city's Greenspoint area. 2 Venezuelan men are charged with her murder. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials say the men were in the country illegally.
Like 12-year-old Joselyn Nungar.
Her story gained national attention, highlighted by Governor Greg Abbott at his State of the State address. Alexis says she's dedicated her life to honoring her daughter's legacy. She travels to Austin to draw support for Joselyn's Law, a proposed constitutional amendment aimed at denying bail to undocumented immigrants charged with a felony.
I'm here to advocate for her life that was taken way too soon.
The measure saw early support by almost every member in the Texas Senate. A priority passed in the upper chamber near the beginning of session. Still, some members share concerns with immigration experts.
It's too much to ask the criminal justice system to make that determination.
Kate Lincoln Goldfish is an immigration attorney and says local criminal courts aren't the place to adjudicate federal immigration status.
Those are 2 independent systems, and they should be independent of each other because immigration is very complicated and it's a federal law.
Lincoln Goldfish also worries about the presumption of innocence the U.S. Constitution grants being locked away with the individuals.
I've represented people who have been accused of being terrorists simply because they have tattoos. I have seen firsthand the way that, detention can be politicized. I personally don't trust necessarily that also would not occur at the state level.
She had a lot going for her.
Alexis says she hears the criticism, but feels the need for consequences for people who harm others, especially children.
I truly believe if they didn't want to be held with no bail, no bond, they should not have committed such heinous crimes in the first place.
She plans to keep visiting her daughter's memorial, her makeshift room, and sharing her story to anyone who will listen.
Bye, Joss.
This year, the U.S. Congress passed the Lake and Riley Act.
It requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain individuals in the country unlawfully if they're arrested, charged, or convicted of certain crimes.
Yeah, those crimes include burglary, theft, larceny, and even shoplifting. At the state capitol, I'm Dylan McKim.
I'm Adam Schwager.
Critics of such measures point to crime trend studies like one of the latest last year from the National Institute of Justice. It specifically examined Texas Department of Public Safety data, finding undocumented immigrants were arrested at less than half the rate of native-born U.S. citizens for violent and drug-related crimes. Meanwhile, Joselyn's Law moved one step closer to final passage at the Texas Capitol. On Monday, a House committee approved the proposed constitutional amendment. Now it's scheduled for a vote tomorrow. tomorrow in the Texas House. We'll continue tracking Joselyn's law and other immigration-related legislation as they make their way through the Capitol. You can see our coverage online now in our special Undocumented section. Just look for the link in this week's State of Texas story on this station's website.
Going to medical cannabis was a no-brainer for us.
Big changes could be coming for the state's medical cannabis program. How new legislation aims to make it easier for patients to access treatment.